So in this video, I'm talking about pivot tables and pivot charts in Excel. Okay, so what you see right now is just bogus data. What would possibly be a typical listing of employee data. So for employee data, you have last name, job code, employee ID, hire date, sex, location, job status, salary, years of service, something like that. So very typical. It doesn't represent any company. It doesn't come from anywhere. It's just really bogus data. So to insert a pivot table, you come to the insert tab over here. So you can see over here. And Excel will make an attempt to recommend pivot tables to you. I mean, if that works for you and has a bunch of options here, if that works for you, then maybe you can pick up on it. I have another video for that deals with that. Okay, but I'm not going that route today. So to insert a pivot table for yourself by yourself, you have this option over here. You can click on this icon here, pivot table. When you do that, this pops up. So this one says it's saying asking you to select the table that you want to use for the pivot table. If you notice well, you'll see that there's a dotted line around the data, all of the data. Everything is selected over here. So because I put it in a table, that's why it's calling it table one. If I hadn't done that, it will have the exact cell references in there. So I have the option of inserting the new pivot table in a new worksheet or using an existing worksheet uh, to dump my pivot table into. So I could click on maybe this tab, job codes tab, worksheet, but I don't want to do that. I want to put it on a new worksheet right now. So when I say OK, it dumps it here in a new worksheet. It's a new one over here, see, as you'll notice. So what you'll notice quickly with pivot tables when you've done this is all the fields in your data are listed over here. You'll have this uh, column over here where you have it's called filters. This is called columns. This section is called rows. And this section is for values. The value section is very important because that's the section where you can aggregate your data. You can use to analyze, aggregate, to calculate stuff inside your data. So the moment I come here, I'm going to choose a very easy example so you can understand it well. So if I come here, let's say my employee data, let me go back to the data and show you what it looks like. So I have a gender column for male and female, obviously listed there, job code. I have annual salary. Annual salary will be a field that anybody will be interested in. And then the location will be a field where you be of interest for an HR department, for example. So if I wanted to look at the listing of employee salaries based on gender, based on location, this is probably what I will do. I will come here, look for the gender. So when I click on that, automatically Excel puts the sex or the gender over here in the rows column. If that's not what I want, I can easily click on it and drag it over here and dump it in the column section. You can see it identified, it's listing the entries in the sex column, female, male. So I can drag it back also over here, and then I'm gonna pick on the location. So the location is listed now. Every location in there. I mean, it could also be. I mean, this data could easily have been like 1,000 rows of data, 1,000,000 rows of data, if you like. This is what Excel will do to it. It will congeal or aggregate everything into this what you see right now. So again, make it look more organized. I'm gonna drag this over here, location to columns. So so when it lists the count of the employees, for example, it's gonna list it by female in Montreal, Toronto, Vancouver, Winnipeg, and give me a grand total at the same time. Okay, so to I want a count of all the employees in the company. So I'm going to use the employee ID because that's what is unique. Now, the employee ID will be that field that uniquely identifies every employee. I'm not going to use last name because it's possible that there will be people in the company, called people in the company have the same last name. Okay, so I'm going to use that one field that's unique to every employee. That's the employee ID field. So when I click on that, because it's a number, Excel automatically puts it in the values section. It's a number. So thinks I'm going to do a calculation on it. It's a number. I want to do a calculation on it, which is it's kind of right. But look at what Excel has done. It says sum. I don't want it to be sum because employee number is not a number that you can add. Uh, you can add up. It's a unique. All you can get from an employee number listing is count. How many employees? You cannot add employee number one to employee number two to employee number three. Just like you cannot add student IDs, student numbers to student number. Anyway, so back to the pivot table. So it has some of ID here. We can change this here by clicking on this drop down over here and going to value field settings. What I want is the count. So I can select, obviously there's a bunch of functions here or aggregations, aggregation functions you can use here for your calculation. There's average, there's max, there's mean, a bunch of other statistical ones. But I'm going to choose a count right now because what I want is a count of all the employees by gender, by location. Okay, so I'm going to choose count right now. Now, what I have, see, it's changed to count here. So what I have right now is the listing of every employee in my company by gender and by location. So you can see all the employees in Montreal, all the employees in Toronto, all the employees in Vancouver, all the employees in Winnipeg, and the grand total of everything by gender, also the grand total of everything by location also. Okay, so in total, in all, I have 100 employees in this company. Okay, so I can look at my data that way. If I want to reorganize it, depending on what I want, I can also do this. Move the sex column over here, location back to the rows, and it will look like this. I mean, there's really no hard and fast rule about how to do it. Okay, so that's a quick listing of a quick analysis of my data immediately. I mean, I can get this done in like 1 minute and look at my data like that. A breakdown, a slicing and dicing of the data in such a way. Okay, so if I was to very quickly, because I'm going to talk about pivot charts also. If I was to insert a pivot chart, given this data right now, given what I see right now, I can easily come here. Look at it, says here, pivot table analyze. If I click on that pivot table analyze, I can always come here to the chart option, the pivot chart option. By the way, if you need to minimize this field listing over here, if you want to minimize it, if it's in your way, you can always come here, take it out. If you need to see it again, you can always come here to field list. Okay. And then we have other options here. We can talk about that in another video. Right. So with pivot charts, if you leave your cursor inside your chart, you can come to pivot charts easily over here. And click on pivot charts. Excel is going to give you options. So it's going to show you this display. It's going to give you first to choose what kind of chart you want. So you have column charts, line charts, pie charts, bar charts, area charts. Up to explore each chart in other videos. But right now, by default, Excel is suggesting for me a clustered column chart right now. I can mouse over it before I say okay to see what it looks like. So apparently it's listing uh, employee by location and then by the gender. You can see the females are in blue, the males are in red, and it's listing them by location. So if I say okay, right there, I have my chart inserted. So this chart, you know what they say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So right now I have a chart that represents my data quickly over here. Okay, so with charts, there's a lot of ways to format your charts to make it look uh, good, just for the looks, number one, and also to enhance what you're trying to say, what story you're trying to tell. So formatting, I can easily come here and change if you can change the background, the color of the borders of the chart, and stuff like that. If I do that, let's go to design. Look at the design. As long as your chart is selected, you can come to the design option over here. The design option over here, the first thing you see on the most notable thing is the chart styles option that you have here. Okay, so I can change the look immediately, the look and feel of my chart. If I mouse over it, it shows you what's possible. So you can see different options, different colors, different designs, and different enhancements to your data. This one has labels for the data, has labels for the data. So I can see if I choose this one, for example, I click on it, I can see that in Toronto, there are 29 females and 28 males. In Montreal, 11 um, males, and 10 females. So the labels are added to this particular design. This one, the labels are also added. You can see not all of them have labels automatically added, but the option is yours, whatever you need to do with it. And one more thing you can do easily to format your chart is look at this option here. It says switch row or column. So right now, what I have here is I have location, um, then sex. I have location listed in the rows. I have the sex listed in the columns. You can switch it around. When I do that, at least you can see that the pivot table has changed and the chart also has changed. So it's listing the data by the agenda first, female, male, and then by the city. So that's one thing. That's one way you can display your data very quickly, very easily. One more thing before I end this video. You can always come here, change the chart type. If you say I don't want to use this particular chart, you can always use another type of column chart. This is a stacked column chart, in which case it will look like this. You can always say I can change the style like that. You can come back here again and say I want to change the chart style. You can come here to go and go to a bar option because it could look like this. You can again come here, change it to a pie chart, in which case it will look like this, something like that. And you have a bunch of options for styles also, as far as this is concerned. Okay, so that's a quick video on inserting pivot charts and pivot tables first, and then followed by pivot charts. I'll talk to you in the next video.